Thank you very much. We've always been very happy, myself included, obviously, coming to speak to you guys. We've been here a lot, and I think it's very nice to come and see the next generation that will have to bear the burden of the past generation's spending and debt. So I hope you guys are ready, because there's a lot for you to carry on your shoulders. What I would be talking about today is give you a little bit of an introduction to Saxo Bank, how we see the world, a little bit about our history, and the way we try to structure our business as we go by. I think it's pretty clear to everyone that there's a big transformation going on in the world, especially in our business, but I think it's fair to say that the world has been through basically the largest crisis since the 30s. And I don't think it's really over yet. You saw Danish GDP figures, so they're not exactly fantastic, and the debt is building in the world and so forth. So I think it's far from over. I think there will be a lot of future changes. And this is obviously as a result of the debt I was talking about, but also the fact that globalization is an unstoppable thing. So globalization, technology, the way that the whole demographic situation is developing in the world, I think will cause major changes in many industries. Now, today I will talk about our industry, the financial business, or the financial industry. And I think some of the major changes that you can experience already now is that being big is no longer a guarantee for safety or success. We saw obviously Lehman Brothers, an old established company, well-established company that's been there for way more than 100 years, collapsed, and that was a big surprise. We have seen some smaller things here in Denmark lately, Banken, and I think now people will look more into what kind of a business are you investing with, what kind of risks do they take. And I think even more important now is that a lot of the traditional financial institutions have for many years been able to compete, not having transparency, product price and service as their core competitive parameters. I think that will change dramatically. For many years it was possible to have a client base even though you took a lot of money for your not fantastic products. And that is relatively easy to maintain happy clients when equity markets and real estate markets are growing year after year. Clearly that has changed now. People that been following the markets for some time will know that Japan, the Nikkei index in Japan, topped out in 40,000 in February 1990. So that's more than 21 years ago now, and basically their value is 25% of that going back plus 20 years ago. So that kind of indicates that equity markets are not always just going up and going up and going up. So you have to think differently about investments and the whole market situation. What we believe is that this transformation will be massive. Technology clearly is going to be absolutely key in transforming this industry, because many financial institutions for many years had a situation where they could really overcharge for their products. Hence, they didn't feel the necessity to have an extremely efficient value chain where everything was basically supported by IT and computer systems. We believe that anything a computer can do as well or better than a human being, you need to make sure that a computer is doing that. And if you go through traditional financial institutions now, that is hardly the case when you look at their value chain. We believe that is going to be essential. Also, I noticed that this presentation today was advertised on Facebook. I think the fact that people are more and more relying onto all online services. They use their computers. They don't want to go down on the local branch of their bank because, you know, why would you want to do that? So you need to be able to support the clients online. Also, the trust in traditional banks is quite low for the reasons mentioned. And we are seeing that more and more people will begin to, or they're already discussing in communities how to invest. They want to have unbiased advice. As I will come back to a little later, we have many of thousands of instruments in everything from foreign exchange to commodities, equities, fixed income products, and so forth. And clearly we cannot be an expert in everything. That goes without saying. What we can do, however, is we can supply a lot of information, everything ranging from education, charts, quotes, news, static data, all sorts of basic information that can facilitate the right kind of forums and blogs. We believe that going forward will be a much more important part of advising clients, because that's where you get the specialists. The specialists are out there in the market, and if you can help them get the information they need and facilitate good forums, we believe that is going to take over that old historic way of advising clients. And that is also being challenged now, both regulatory-wise, but also people know that, you know, if these guys were so fantastic, why are they having that job, right? Which I think is a very good question. IT is essential, as I said. Obviously, Saxo Bank have been focusing a lot on IT since mid-90s, and I think if we hadn't done that, we wouldn't be here today. And clearly IT is used in all financial institutions, but to put everything that can come onto a computer system, there's a long way to go, and we believe that the ones that can lead that transformation will obviously have advantages in terms of production cost, transparency, scalability, less error, and so forth. We also believe that the way to distribute product will change. I'm sure you've all seen how traditional Danish banks are advertising. It wasn't long ago where you had a guy sitting playing the guitar for you to open up a bank account and so forth. And we don't believe that is how it's going to continue in the future. We've entered into a partnership with Microsoft, the MSN Trader, where that's obviously big real estate on the internet and stuff like that, where you have people already in the money sections looking for information and so forth. We believe could be a good way to onboard clients. We also did a cooperation with Euroinvestor, where we bought 41% and have now set up a product called the Euro Trader. And the idea is simply to allow people that come there for information, talk about the market and so forth, to have an easy access to actually execute orders and trade in the market if they so desire. So the balance obviously is to figure out how are you going to use technology and still have a personalized service. And we believe that balance is going to be essential going forward. What we see also is that as it's not easy to make money in the marketplace right now, a rational approach where people really focus on what they get. If you follow the discussions on pensions in Denmark, for example, on mutual funds or investeringsforeninger, you'd see that the cost of participating in those are quite high, and compared with the returns in the market, the markets as we see them these days, it's actually not necessarily the best way to participate in the markets. Exchange-traded funds that typically have a lot lower cost structure seems to be a better choice for many people. But right now, the banks are typically not super motivated to go and sell these products because they don't make any money on them, and they prefer to sell their own mutual funds. Clearly that's going to change, both seen from a regulatory point of view, but also once investors begin to understand that this is their own money and they basically have to think a little bit about it as well. We believe that the trend will be towards a much more rational investment process.